Rupert Costo was a Cahuilla Indian. He grew up on the Cahuilla Indian Reservation, the Cahuilla Village, which is in the town of Anza today. And Rupert came from a leadership family. His relatives, his past relatives, were the major leaders, the Nets, they call them. The chiefs are called Nets here. And so he came from a leadership family and a family of cattle people. And so he grew up as a cowboy. And he attended college. He lived in the Riverside area. He supported the formation of the University of California, Riverside. When a small committee of people here in Riverside put it together, Rupert was a part of that. So he's always had this attachment to Riverside. And over the years, he worked for Caltrans, which is the agency that deals with transportation systems throughout the state of California in the engineering department. And he and his wife had no children, and so they decided when they passed that they would give their estate to the University of California, Riverside to establish a Rupert Costo Chair in American Indian History to do the work that I'm doing today, and as well as to establish a library of their materials. So their materials included a wonderful book collection that is here in the library that's open to all students. And in addition, they gave a great deal of manuscript materials and letters that they had collected over the years to the library. And so the special collections here at the University of California, Riverside has this collection, and researchers from far and wide come here to study Rupert Costo, to study his collection, to use it, as well as students on campus are in this space every day to use this library. It's a very rich collection that he left. And both he and his wife have left us, but their spirit is still here. The Indian people here in Southern California, and there are many Indian people, so we primarily have Cahuillas, and they are classified as Desert Cahuilla, Mountain Cahuilla, and Pass Cahuilla people, but they had villages all over Riverside County. All the way to the river, you would find evidence of the Cahuilla people, and to the north and to the south. To the south of us are Luiseño Indians as well, principally at Pachanga Reservation. And they are similar people and different as well, meaning that their language family is similar, but they are a different people as well. And then to the north of us are Serrano people who had villages in our area. To the west of us are the Tongva Gabrielenos, and then there are also Chemehuevis who live in the Coachella Valley. On the Colorado River is the Colorado River Indian Reservation, and it has a number of Mojave people, Chemehuevi people, as well as after World War II, Navajos and Hopis live there. They have lands in Riverside County on this side of the river. So the first settlers are the Spanish passing through. Juan Bautista de Anza came through Riverside and Riverside County early on. He had come from southern Arizona, from San Javier del Bac and the Presidio of Tubac, through the Colorado River and the Quetzans tribes, across the river, through the desert, and up in through the mountains of Coyote Canyon, which is a Cahuilla area, and then through what became Riverside Town and on to the San Gabriel Mission. So early on, the Spanish are coming through but not settling. And there is settlement for the Spanish period out here to an extent, bringing cattle out here to raise cattle. And the missions all had large cattle herds that American Indians were the cowboys for these mission herds. And in the Riverside area and to the east of us and to the north of us are great valleys, and they would graze the cattle there. And that was the first major interaction of Native people in the inland areas with the mission system and with the Spanish. And during the Mexican period, the Mexican government provided land claims to multiple people here, and ranchos were established here. So the ranchos had an imprint, but there were not a lot of them. But once again, the Indian people often would work with and for the ranchos, and they were the cowboys moving cattle from different pasturages all over Riverside County. The United States arrived here in the 1840 because of the war with Mexico. And the troops primarily came into San Diego and the Los Angeles areas and to the north towards San Francisco. But that brought in the first folks establishing settlements in the inland areas. So towns like Riverside and towns like Banning and Beaumont and Hemet, all of these towns in the inland areas are farming areas and they're ranching areas initially. And there is a continual interaction with Indians because Indians would serve as cowboys or farm workers. This is a very common theme. And that way they were being introduced to different crops that non-Indians had brought here. But also with the enlargement of the white population and the non-Indian population, there's going to be conflicts because the settlers assume that all of this land belongs to them through right of discovery, right of war, the Mexican War, and the cities are established, the counties are established, and the whole process of having land title moves into a new way of being, and Indians were not a part of that. But in the 1870s, the government decided to establish some executive order treaties. So different presidents created these treaties that established the various reservations. And then in the 1890s, a reformer by the name of Albert Smiley was a member of the Board of Indian Commissioners and went to the president, President Cleveland, and said, the Indian people of Southern California, many of them have no legal relationship to the United States and have no lands of their own. And so he asked for a Mission Indian Commission to be established. So the Congress in 1890 established the commission, and this commissioner of non-Indians, including Smiley, went around to the different areas throughout Southern California, in Riverside County, in San Bernardino County, and San Diego County, to work with the tribes there and to lay out a plan for a reservation to be wherever their villages were located. And these were taken to the president, and over time, executive orders were given to create our reservations. So here in Riverside County, we have multiple reservations, but they are all executive order reservations. In addition to their languages, the Indian people of Southern California have unique belief systems about power, about how they came to be, their creation stories. They're very unique and still taught to young people. They're unique in their songs. There are bird songs that are sung socially. And so the bird songs are sung by the people of the Colorado River, like the Mojaves and the Quetzans. They are sung by Luiseños. They are sung by the Kumeyaay of Southern California in the San Diego area. The Cahuilla people and the Serranos, they also sing this unique song complex called bird songs. In Riverside County, most Indian people, not all, are very fortunate to have Indian gaming. In the past, Indian people had tried to sell, say, tobacco through smoke shops. They had primarily worked when the traditional economies fell apart because of white settlement. Indians could no longer go and hunt and gather as they had before. And so they went to work. And they worked on ranches, and they worked on farms. They worked as cleaning houses, worked at gas stations, just like everyone else working. And on reservations, there were attempts to create some economy for them, but it was never really working until the 1970s and 80s when gaming came in here. So that's not to say that all Indian people of Southern California and certainly of Riverside County have gaming and have money as a result of that. but many do. And it's a major industry for Riverside County. It's one of the biggest industries for the entire county, hiring numerous people on reservations today. One of the positive things that has come from the tribes themselves, there's a great deal of sovereignty and self-determination among our tribes of Southern California. And they have invested in language preservation, in teaching their youth, and encourage them to succeed in college, and providing tutors, providing money for young people to go off to colleges and universities. There's been an effort to increase the capacity of the tribes, not just through gaming, but through other economic development. Some of the tribes, for example, have purchased hotels in Washington, D.C., in various cities. Yes, in Washington, D.C., there's the Marriott Courtyard is owned by several tribes, including the San Manuel tribes. So I'm not in a position to know about all their business dealings, but they have tried to use money to diversify and to hire their own people and to train their own people to do multiple things. Very important that we know about the history of Southern California Indians, and especially those people of Riverside County, because at one time they lived in a very rich economy through hunting and gathering. A great deal of movement of people to and from different areas and villages, a lot of intermarrying that went on and alliances that went on. But once the settlement took place, with white settlement after the 1840s, there was a destruction of their economy. And most people do not know that the Indian people of Southern California went to work. They became the labor force of Southern California here in Riverside County. They worked on the farms and the ranches. They worked in the cities. They did multiple things for numerous years. And so they were able to survive, which is a major theme on all our reservations, that these are people who survive and protect their native sovereignty. So times have changed now, and things are better for some of the tribes. But for most people in our area, they think of the tribes only in terms of gaming, and there is so much more to Indian people than gaming. Very rich cultures that are sustained today.